This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you here on Money Moves at the D. New digs for today and tomorrow. And, of course, I started off the day the perfect way. Accidentally still driving to Circa regardless.
You were reminded 5 times, I think, in the last 12 hours.
Thank you very much.
And you still didn't. I didn't forget because this is one of my favorite spots. Why?
Because you like to play Sigma Derby.
Like to play the ponies when we get here. That was up $70.
And video poker. Like, I'm surprised you didn't hit that up, too. It's right here. It's 10 feet away max.
It was. I would have, but there were certain parameters that were not met, so I decided to go and play the ponies instead.
How'd it go?
Up $70.
And then?
And then I blew it. It's all right. Got burned. I decided to go all in, so I only threw $40 in, and then on because you were here and you wanted to get ready for the show, so I was like, all right, let me just throw my 40 here that I started with down on my last horse. It was a 6-1, not a very big long shot, and then a 67-1 closes out, passes by 4 horses, and gets the win. Beats me. I finished second. It was brutal.
It's almost like that's how the games are formulated to play out, one might say. You know, we all just prepared for the show a little bit differently. That's how you prepped today. Meanwhile, our producer Corey and I were, hard at work, typing away, trying to finalize some things on the rundown.
I know that you're really souped up and ready to go on these baseball segments, so I'm very much looking forward to what you feel about a lot of these big games here later today.
Which we will get to in a little bit, shall we?
In fact, I could probably just take the segment off.
Okay. He is messing with me, because he knows how dialed into football I am at this point, and it's just rude. That said, we do have plenty of baseball we're going to get into. A really interesting night last night on the Diamond, which we will discuss in a moment. But for now, let's set the table for everything else that is to come. Like we always do, time for the rundown.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the rundown.
We've got a blistering favorite for the PGA Tour Championship coming up. We're going to have the one and only Kelley Bydlon join us in just a little bit to break down the 30-man field. And I say blistering favorite because Scottie Scheffler, coming off the hand, foot, and mouth disease, is plus 340, a very prohibitive favorite yet again here. We'll get Kelley's thoughts on Scottie, his thoughts on the field at large, and I'm also curious what his opinion is on what the new look playoff system is going to be beginning in 2028.
Well, he says, Scottie that is, that he's 95% healed from whatever this is. What is it, the hand, foot, and mouth disease that he is suffering from? So I guess 95% Scottie Scheffler still should be good enough to be priced the way that he is, no?
One would think, and especially considering even last week when he was dealing with it and talked about how difficult just the grip was on the driver and everything to begin with, he still ended up finishing T12. So you do that what you will. Plenty of National Football League to discuss as well today as our NFL training camp tour continues. The Raiders of the lost games will be who we are previewing today. Win total set at 5.5. Kirk Cousins, yes, your starting quarterback, but the Fernando Mendoza era, we imagine, will begin at some point this season, just a matter of when.
I guess. By the way, is that an Indiana Jones reference?
It is.
That okay?
Yes.
All right, I get it.
I was proud of that one.
It's not bad.
I did well today.
No, I would say that this team is one that I believe is probably going to find itself in contention for the top overall pick yet again this year. I don't know if they're going to be very, very good. The other interesting aspect of this with Fernando mania, if you will, as it was put in the NFL betting guide, is many believe that a rookie quarterback, if they're going to get a start, would be post-bye week. Well, their bye week doesn't come to the end of November, so when is that going to happen? And then you have the added looming specter, if you will, of Max Crosby's fate, which, you know me, I believe he gone by the time we get to the trade deadline.
Yeah, that is one of those things where I feel like he's done a really good job of saying all the right things. He's all in on the Raiders, all in until maybe trade talks re-arise mid-season and he gets sent somewhere else. I actually do think this is one of the more intriguing teams to preview, although neither one of us are particularly optimistic for this being like a surprise team in the NFL this year. The way that they've retooled the offensive line, some of the additions they've made, I think that it's an interesting team to dive into for a number of reasons, specifically from a betting standpoint. And like we talked about, Major League Baseball, of course, on deck today. We got plenty of it. The Diamond Standard, one game in action as we speak right now, with the Rays and Tigers going head-to-head. We're in the top of the 5th where things currently sit. 2-0 Rays up on Detroit. in Detroit right now. But a lot of action still to come today. We will preview it all, including plenty of day baseball on the card. But especially considering yesterday, we had our good buddy Adam Burke on the program. And listen, he is a good sport with us. We give him grief all the time for being a little bit of an Eeyore, can be a downer at times.
No.
Homeboy has got to at least have some excitement this week with the run the Guardians are on. No 6 straight after the comeback yesterday.
Yep, good job for Cleveland. Jose Ramirez getting in the last 3 runs himself, powering him to a win. 3 of 6 for the day, 5 runs driven in for Ramirez. Struck out twice and then hit the Quan, baby. 5 of 5 yesterday. Scores 3 times himself, benefiting from Ramirez. And this 6-game stretch, like you mentioned, it's been hot, and it's something you like, considering post-trade deadline they had not played particularly well. Having said that, you don't want to make too much of it. Rockies, Giants, Angels, all the opponents on this run that they have faced. So even with the 6-game winning streak and 7 out of the last 8, I don't know how much stock we're putting into it. Burke kind of brought it up to us yesterday, the softness with which they've been playing. But Stormy, I don't know if it ends anytime soon. They have a series coming up against the Royals next. They have a 10-game homestand that begins on Friday. Kansas City, Toronto, and Detroit. Those are all winnable series if Cleveland's going to do what they're supposed to do. And the question I wanted to ask is, as you look at the American League Central, do you think they could pull this off? They're 2.5 games behind Chicago right now. The White Sox are 69 and 63. The odds-on favorite at -225. Strength of schedule remaining, it's minimal. White Sox have the harder schedule, but it's a 474 opponent win strength to 471 for Cleveland. So that's 27th and 28th, respectively. Do you buy that the White Sox can hold on here as $2 favorites, or is it worth looking at this Guardians team with a 10-game homestand coming up against winnable opponents and think they can get it done? And by the way, I will at least note, because they're 5.5 games back, the Twins do still exist, but I do not think that they would be a team that I would really expect to be able to pull this off.
The runway closing in now with like a month and a half, if that, remaining in the regular season. I don't hate that, the value at the 3-1, but how about Chicago pulling out another trick out of the hat yesterday themselves? I don't know about you, but I did not have DeGrom getting clobbered in the first inning on my bingo card going into yesterday. Yeah,
it sucks because DeGrom's kind of been, I would say, not inconsistent, but you have seen some of these flare-ups in recent starts for Jacob DeGrom. Yesterday, to your point, 3 2/3, 6 hits, 8 earned runs, walked 5 and only struck out 2, so he was kind of all over the place with his command. The strikeout numbers in the month of August have not really been dominant. He did have a 10-1 strikeout game against the White Sox, strikeout to walk ratio, I should say. But then against my Angels, if you remember, they lost that game 7-0. He only was out there for 2 innings, struck out 3 and only walked 1. And then, of course, a start on the road against Houston, 3 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, struck out 3 and walked 5. His ERA for this month so far is sitting just over 7. Like, DeGrom has not been the dominant guy that we've been. We haven't seen him out there for long stretches either. So you do wonder what that means for him, because the length, if we're looking at it, since the start of July has not really been there for DeGrom. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a red flag for my Rangers. I want them to pull this off in the American League West. I've got them to win the West from before the season started. I've got them to win the American League from before the season started. But they are continuing to kind of just flounder around. And you mentioned this the last time we talked about this division. I mean, do we care? All of these teams have winning record or losing records. Yeah. All of these teams have negative run differentials at this point right now. It seems absolutely pathetic that one of these teams is going to make it into a playoff series and have a home field advantage, considering the way that they're playing. Yeah, for anyone who missed it, that was my question at JVT the other day, was will the winner of the division actually have a winning record when all is said and done? To round this out on DeGrom, gave up 6 runs in the first inning, most runs he's ever allowed in a first, and just the second time that he's hit that number in an inning, period, throughout his career, according to MLB.com. 3 2/3 innings is all he ends up doing. 6 hits, walks, 2 strikeouts there. Meanwhile, your Red Sox stay hot again. Jarren Duran belts a go-ahead grand slam to beat the Marlins yesterday in the 11th, 7-3 final, 5th straight win for them now, 9th in the last 12 games. And we talk about the turnaround that this Boston team has had. 62 days ago, they were 14 games under 500. Yeah. Now they're 14 games over. Second shortest such turnaround in MLB history, what they have been able to do. Yeah, so they're going to be a playoff team. Now the question just becomes, will they be a team that is a real threat in the postseason? So feel good, because these Major League Baseball futures, for me, not going well. So we definitely need these Red Sox to make it in. One. Yeah, so I can pretty much break even on this 6-1 that we've got for the Red Sox to make the playoffs. But that's really the only question that remains. And the American League, we talk about remaining, it remains kind of a mess for the most part. The Rays are still holding on to the top of the AL East, but they're plus 44 in their terms of run differential. They're not really a dominant team at all. There's no team that you look at in the AL that you would say, no, man, like this team, there's no beating them. And so the Red Sox do have a really clear path here to not only get into the postseason, but be a very big threat as you look at them when we finally get to the tournament. So you got to be excited about where they're at. And we had discussed this post-deadline. You got to think that this team, with the additions they made at the trade deadline, feel like they're going to be up there for some of these spots, if that's going to be the case. And Rutschman in a Red Sox uniform is not really hit particularly well, but you would expect that maybe that's going to come along here at some point.
You know that I love a good fun fact. I mentioned the turnaround that Boston has had. The first, the team that has the best turnaround in Major League Baseball history was also Boston, but it was the 1914 Boston Braves, which coincidentally was also the Babe Ruth debut year. So fun facts all around.
I should also note Rutschman did not play yesterday for a sore elbow, so let's see maybe what that means, but I would expect that it's not going to be serious.
The Braves also, speaking of the Braves, not the Boston ones anymore, they're out in Atlanta. They snapped the Dodgers win streak yesterday with a 4-3 win. Ozzie Albies ends up closing it out with the go-ahead run with 2 outs in the 8th to snap that streak. We will also talk through the Padres and Pittsburgh Pirates series as well. The Pirates with a chance to sweep San Diego today. Paul Skeens getting back to form, it appears. Yesterday, the velocity was back up to about 98. So lots of stuff that we are going to discuss in Major League Baseball, even though JVT was making fun of me for it. See, I did a little bit of work, I'm just ready for football. Is that a crime? Is that criminal?
I'm very proud.
Thank you. Well,
I was able to get ready for both, but I'm very proud of you.
And still had time for Sigma Derby. Yep. You are a revelation, my friend.
And I worked out this morning.
I made 4 shots of espresso this morning, so there's that. We got to step aside here. You hear that music. We're just getting started on Money Moves. When we come back, Kelley Bydlon's going to join us, talk through all things PGA Tour Championship weekend next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back here on Money Moves. Remember, the Circa Survivor documentary is heating up. Tonight's episode called The Hedge. 49 survivors. 18.7 mil on the line. And now The Hedge, with weeks 14 through 16 delivering the final stretch before the Christmas slate. The psychology of the contest begins to really take stride. Who takes the money? Who rolls the dice? We'll go deep inside the minds of the contestants still standing, although there are not many, exploring the impossible decisions that come with life-changing money on the line. Watch the next episode tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on VSiN. And if you want to catch up, all of the episodes that have been out already are available on YouTube. We love binge watching in today's society. All you need to do, search VSiN Live on YouTube. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Our next guest, Kelley Bydlon, always part of the Circa Survivor documentary as well, but producer of A Numbers Game here on VSiN weekday 7 to 10 Pacific, 10 to 1 Eastern, if I have my time zones correctly. Also host of the Long Shots podcast, and that's where we're going to go, diving into all things golf. The PGA Tour Championship, the final weekend upon us coming up here. And I want to start at the top with Scottie Scheffler, because I brought this up on Monday. Would have been nice to know homeboy was dealing with hand, foot, and mouth disease. Where do we sit right now, and what do you make of the number as a plus 340 short shot?
Yeah, golf injuries, always tough, always an argument that we like to get into, and how they're reported and should they be better reported, and we could have a 30-minute conversation just about that. No collective bargaining agreement on the PGA Tour, so that is not changing anytime soon. People just need to get used to it. Scottie's out there. Look, he's out there on the driving range. I saw him hitting balls, Stormy. So apparently any blisters or anything that's on his hands, feeling a little bit better, at least enough on a Wednesday to be out there practicing. My take on Scottie, and this kind of applies to Rory as well, I think the numbers are pretty fair. If anything, you're getting a little bit of a bonus on Scottie. I mean, he was a shorter price last week in a field with more players in it. So that last week he was coming off of a win, so his price gets shortened. This week, because of the illness, it gets a little bit longer. I don't have any problem with anybody. If you want to make one bet this week, you want to make a stand, go with Scottie Scheffler. Completely fine. Difference between these two guys, Scheffler, this is actually one of the courses, and we do not say this often about Scottie Scheffler, he has not played his best golf at in his career. It's very far down the list for him. Rory, on the other hand, a course that he dominates. So I did not end up betting either one of these guys this week. I think you could take some positives and some concerns out of Rory's game last week, where he had a chance to win the thing and said afterward that he is far from out of his best form right now. So I don't know. You want to say, hey, maybe he gets a little bit better this week. He could easily win this thing. Either one of those guys, I think, are fine bets this week. I'm passing on both, though.
All right, well, let's get it from you then. Your shortest, I'll ask for the shortest outright and how it correlates to some of the statistics you weighted heavily in your modeling this week, Kelley.
Yeah, Xander Schauffele is where I started my card. Look, I did pivot JVT a little bit here. I didn't think I was going to be betting Xander too much this week. Was just a little surprised you were able to get as long a numbers as you were on him. 15-1 here in town. I know that's not widely available. It's like more like 12-1 at DraftKings, but there are some shops that were getting shortened on Sam Burns and Wyndham Clark and some of these other guys kind of boosted that Xander Schauffele number up. And look, as far as what matters here statistically, JVT, off the tee matters a lot. And Xander Schauffele has been playing incredible golf with his driver and off the tee here recently. And the other big thing, just real quick, you want to keep this accurate. It is very penal rough off the sides, 3.5-inch tall Bermuda rough. You don't want to get stuck in that. It's going to be hard to gain on approach out of that. The greens did get a bit wider here a couple years ago when they renovated this, so it should be a little bit easier to find those. This is one of those courses that is difficult to play around the green and chip onto these greens. However, we are going to see these guys go like 15 to high teens under par. So I always like to bring this up of just because this might be a place that's difficult to play out around the green is not something you need to factor in much this week. Because if you're playing around the green, you're probably not scoring very, very well. And that means you're not up there on the leaderboard. So yeah, Xander's where I started with. Approach. That matters the most here. Always a solid approach player. He is what I love about Xander this week, rounding into form, T18 at the Open, a second at the Rocket Classic, playing some of his best golf of the season right now. And this is a course that he plays very, very well at. Has never finished worse than T7 in his 8 starts here. You can get, like, I laid minus 137 at stations here in town. I think it was 138 at DraftKings on a top 10 on Xander Schauffele. That is by far my favorite bet of the week.
Well, you should know you just got me quick to the trigger because I just played a Xander Schauffele top 5 and will now tail you on the top 10 as well. SDSU Aztecs fight. Let's go. Elsewhere on your card, Collin Morikawa, another name that stood out to you in the outright market. How'd you get there?
Yeah, Morikawa was one of the guys. I would say Morikawa, Hideki Matsuyama, and Sam Burns kind of heading into the playoffs. I thought there was a very good chance I would be playing all 3 of them every week. Morikawa won this year, but very early in the season. Those other 2 still chasing W's. And obviously, this is the last tournament that we have coming up. I have abandoned Hideki and Sam Burns this week, so if either one of them wins, I'm going to be crying a little bit. Morikawa, I'm sticking with, though. Showed me enough last week, and he's got not long off the tee. He's not going to benefit from that here at East like some of these other guys are. But he right now is the most accurate golfer in the field over the last 16 rounds, most accurate fairway finder in this field. We know he's one of the best approach players on the face of the earth, can hit the long irons well. He's going to have to rely on that this week. But that T4 last week, St. Jude wasn't all that great, but it was a T18 at the Open Championship, a 3rd at the Travelers, and another top 20 finish at the U.S. Open. He's refinding that form that he was in at the beginning of the year when he was playing so well before he got hurt. And it's finally looked like he's bouncing back. He's rated out top 3 of everything that I ran this week. Little bit of roller coaster history at this course for Collin Morikawa. He has gained over 12 strokes on the field once 2 years ago when he finished solo second, and then he's lost nearly 8 strokes to the field a couple different times here. So Collin Morikawa, checkered past at this golf course, but like where his game's at, I love the number. I think with Wyndham Clark winning last week, I talked earlier about Sam Burns getting shortened a bit in the market as well. I think this has gotten Collin Morikawa's number to drift too far. You can get him at 20-1, over to 20-1. I think that's a great bet this week.
All right, what else we got here? Top 5s and top 10s, some familiar names, but one I don't think you've mentioned in detail here, Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah, also top 10 on Colin Morikawa as well. I don't think that made the graphic. My fault. Did bet a top 10 on him. But yeah, Cantlay, I'm not going outright. I know Wes Reynolds is. I'm going to just go in the top 10 market, though. Cantlay, he struggles to win. Sometimes it just looks like he's purposely not trying to win. And it's just incredible. He has a win here, though. Has won at this golf course and finished T2 a couple years ago. So has the history here, and most importantly, this guy has the best approach game on the face of the earth right now. Over the past 3 weeks, he has gained 7 shots, 5.5 shots, and 6.5 shots on approach over the field, absolutely destroying things tee to green. The putter's going to come and go with Cantlay, but really, really like where his irons are at right now. Most important thing that's going to matter this week. So I'm going to stick with a top 10. You can find that about -110. Again, only a 30-man field. So that's why these numbers are like this. But I can count, I think, on Patrick Cantlay to beat out two-thirds of the field.
You know, Kelley, when we talk about the PGA Tour playoffs, it's the best players in the world, short field, all going at it. You think it would drum up maybe a little bit more attention, but it really hasn't over the years. The majors always steal the show. And so with that, the PGA Tour has tried to make adjustments for the future of what the postseason is going to look like. What do you think about some of the changes and what they are trying to do moving forward?
Yeah, I always appreciate the efforts, right? And that's the PGA Tour's tried to do that even with this playoff, right? It changed 2 years ago. They got rid of the starting strokes for this final event. The fans and a lot of golf fans and followers have been yelling for years. We need to bring back more match play and get rid of all the stroke play events. So that's what they're going to be switching to in 2028 for this final stretch. Kind of the bonus at the end of the year is going to be the top 32 guys playing a match play event for over the last couple weeks to kind of claim big bonus prizes and stuff like that. I like it, Stormy. I think it's different. I will say if you're bet golf every week, like I do, it's different. Match play very different than stroke play and what you're kind of handicapping and looking much more at what these guys do historically in match play. So just a heads up for bettors out there. And then we all love the idea of match play. I will say television coverage of match play can get a little brutal sometimes. It's mano y mano, right? It's very easy to go up 5 shots over one guy if you're just playing one guy. So matches can get boring, and you can run out of things to cut to on TV. So it's just settle in. There's going to be some fun with match play, and there's going to be some boring moments too.
We'll see how it plays out if it can bring in more of the casual fan. They're trying to blow it up. We saw Pat McAfee with the video reveal of all of that kind of stuff. So again, we'll see if it works. I think it should be fun on the surface. Yeah. Kelley, appreciate the time as always. Thank you for doing this. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, guys.
Kelley Bydlon, make sure you check him out on a numbers game with Gil Alexander. Again, weekdays here on VSiN, 7 to 10 Pacific, 10 to 1 Eastern. And if you want the full breakdown of the PGA Tour Championship, long shots available right now wherever you get your podcasts. Also on YouTube. Hear from Kelley, hear from Wes, who's on a nice little run right now. Wes Reynolds, that is, and our own Matt Brown. We got to step aside here on Money Moves. Keep it locked right here. We told you yesterday Jamar Chase had a scare. We'll update you on that and more next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Football season is almost here, and the sharp money is on the move. Here's how the Sharp Plays sees it first. Exclusive data feeds from 4 major sportsbook. Thousands of sharp bettors and professional syndicates tracked in real time before the market moves. All of it filtered and sorted by version 6.0 of the AI model. That's the machine. Now the receipts. Every play is logged. Every result made public. Records dating back to 2011 and live logs since 2021. Follow the Sharp Money today at sharpplays.com. For those of you watching on YouTube TV or the VSiN Watch app, you can scan that QR code. Or again, head over to sharpplays.com.
So, Stormy, I think all of us are in an endless quest for the perfect body. I have been on that journey. I think you're on that journey. Many of us are. And yet the devil appears in many different forms and fashions, and the devil yet again is tapping upon my shoulder after what I see cross my timeline here today.
Oh, what?
What a dramatic setup, right?
I'm very excited.
At a local establishment, a certain burger place, it's their anniversary today.
Okay.
Apparently it's 80 years, so they are selling 80-cent cheeseburgers over at Irv's. I have not been there before. Corey, you're nodding. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, you haven't been, but yeah.
Irv's, is that the burger
That's
place
in
that's in
Durango.
Durango?
Yep.
Yeah.
80
It's
cent,
fire. It's
80
very
cent
good.
burgers today.
I like a nice sesame seed bun.
Sure.
That's what they've got going on.
So the
there.
whole point
80 cent
is,
burger is
of
glorious.
course I have to go buy 5 burgers today, right?
You just told me that you are basically going full
I
anorexic
am.
right now until Saturday.
You know what I had for breakfast
because-
today?
Where?
I had 175 grams of Greek yogurt with berries, honey drizzle, and a protein shake.
You sound very unhappy.
I know. Trust me, I am. I've got ground 96.4 beef with fajitas and onions, or fajitas, bell peppers and onions waiting to eat at like 4 o'clock when I finally get home later today.
Hold it in, all right? Do not bail on the diet today for Irv's Burgers when you know the glory of
I don't know that,
the
though.
local spot.
You're
on
telling me it is,
Saturday.
but I don't know that.
It's good.
Dude, if it sucks, I'm going to throw it in your face. Like,
If
literally, I'm going to throw it in your face.
There's
and
no
I'll
way.
leave.
I've never been more confident in my life that you're going to love this joint, especially knowing some of your pizza tastes.
Even with your dad right there, I'm just going to take the
Nope.
food and
Nope.
throw it in.
Nope, it's going to be the best. Don't you worry. I'm holding off giving that specific location pub so
You're gonna be
that
like Gil?
we can get your no. So that I
With
can
the
get
sushi
your
spot?
reveal first. I want to make sure that you. The sushi thing is funny.
Well, which, by the way,
For our audience that doesn't know, there is a sushi restaurant here in Vegas that Gil says is the best in the history of history, and he will not name it on the air because he doesn't want people to go there.
so I know where it is. And I have not said anything to anybody, but I know where it is. I have figured it out
Okay.
through circles, and I mentioned it to Gil that I knew, and you should have heard the curse words coming out of his mouth.
No way.
I was like, chill, brother. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody. But he was very mad. He was very mad.
I feel bad now that all we've done for the last 5 minutes is tell our audience about these amazing local establishments that we cannot name. Don't worry, one of these you'll get. You'll get next week after JVT has finally tasted the heavenly goodness.
I'll take pictures.
Let's get into some of the NFL training camp news. Obviously, yesterday when we were on the air, we saw and mentioned the Jamar Chase injury at practice. Yep. Saw the video of what looked like, didn't look great in the moment, just a hyperextended knee. Jamar Chase did speak to reporters after practice, though, yesterday, saying he's fine.
Just a football play, missed my footing, and just a little tweak, but I'm fine.
How you feeling right now?
Feel good.
Yeah, could you have went going if you wanted to?
I tried, but they told me no.
Was it your
Yes.
How soon did you know that you were going to be okay after it happened?
Once I was able to start walking.
Okay, well, good news all around, though, it appears, for Jamar Chase, who, when you look at the Offensive Player of the Year odds behind Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, is the top wide receiver option in the market at double digits. But high expectations for this Bengals offense again this year with Joe Burrow coming back healthy. And granted, even if Jamar Chase is a little bit slow-rolled, you pay T. Higgins for a reason. You've still got a lot of talent and depth in that wide receiver room. But one of the best, if not the best wide receivers in the entire league is A-OK, and that is good for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for us. I know that you're high on Cincinnati.
Over 10.5, baby. Let's
Yep.
go.
I've said it 1,000 times, too. I mean, over 10.5, 1 seed, Joe Burrow MVP. Like, I think all of these things are attainable. Your first game's not until September 13th. So you tweak it here today. You've got well over 2 weeks before you're going to have to even see a football field in a mandatory sense. So I think you're feeling perfectly fine. You're always getting a little freaked out by this, but that was like the last thing you wanted for a team that notoriously, didn't last year, but notoriously has been off to slow starts in the first 2 weeks of an NFL season under Zach Taylor. But I will not be deterred. I will not be.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to be freaking awesome. I love the adjustments on defense in terms of what they brought in. And I think a lot of the people that have talked about this have gone like, well, they're still going to be bad on defense. Again, I don't need them to be great. I need them to be closer to average. And I think they're going to be closer to average this season. So I refuse to back down on this thing when it comes to them. And I will, play this back when they win 7 games. The defense is awful and Joe Burrow gets injured in like week 9.
Don't even put that juju into the world. Meanwhile, not the same positive news for the Giants. Wide receiver Calvin Austin did end up tearing his ACL. We mentioned it when he was carted off the practice field yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't a good sign, but then they get the worst once all of the testing is completed. He's somebody that obviously was expected to play an important role in that wide receiver room, but at least Malik Neighbors is officially out of the red non-contact jersey, so hope that there's getting some health in other places and your most important spot in wide receiver room.
I mean, how do we feel about this?
I don't like the Giants.
So the sense is Blake Neighbors is going to be fine, so at least for availability. Darius Slayton, Darnell Mooney, and then after that, Malachi Fields. Odell Beckham Jr. is listed as a second-string receiver.
He's making some highlight reel catches in camp, apparently.
Braxton Berrios.
Yep.
Isaiah Hodgins, like, I don't know, man. This wide receiver room is hanging, like, by a thread, and your best player's coming off a major knee injury.
So, hanging by a thread, you have Jackson Dart, who already, even though he didn't have a concussion, was sent to the blue tent already in preseason, and obviously he's had his issues there.
You want the personification of a meathead?
Jackson
Dart, I think, is actually it. Brother, we're trying to protect your brain. The thing that makes you operate as a human, that allows you to play the sport that you're talking about. And you're like, I don't know, man, these head checks, this is getting, like, come on. Even Cam Scadaboo, after he did the backflip, was kind of like, I probably should. Like, what are we doing?
We saw the new CTE reports that came out just this week as well. But Cam Scadaboo, doing backflips on his injured leg. We've all seen the video of him when he was in school, hitting his head up against a wall, right? Like, they're just, for as much as I like John Harbaugh, and as much as it feels like the future is bright, and you think about all the one-score games that they ended up losing last year, they were like this close from having a record that was completely flipped. I still just don't know if I can get on board with what this group is, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to be healthy. Patrick Mahomes, however, says that he is healthy and appears to be on track for week 1. Here is what he had to say after practice yesterday.
It hasn't been yet. Like, I've obviously haven't played in the game and been able to get hit, but having people around me and competing and doing stuff like that, it's almost like I do everything I naturally do, and then after, it's kind of like the coaches coach me like, hey, like, let's calm down a little bit. It's just like being a competitor, I want to go out there and win. I want to go out there and give everything I have for the team, and so I haven't had any hesitancy kind of throughout the plays. It's kind of the coaches talking to me after and telling me we're just practicing. It's not a real live game, and so other than that, we've been good.
So I would argue good, though, that he's overzealous. He said the more he's practiced, the better that his body is felt, that he's responded really well in camp to this point. What I wanted to present to you, because we had brought up already when we were previewing the Kansas City Chiefs, the comeback player of the year market, and how he is the favorite at plus 185. John Ewing over at BetMGM does a good job of posting a lot of their data as it comes down. Mahomes taking the most tickets of anybody in the market at 18.1%, and the most cash volume, more than 46% of the money that has come in on this market at BetMGM is on Patrick Mahomes. Here's where I laugh, though.
Okay.
Biggest liability, if you had to guess, in the market.
I know. It's.
You already know the
I think I know this. Is it Deshaun Watson? No.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're right.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
50-1. Deshaun Watson, your biggest liability for comeback player of the year.
There's an easy joke to make there, but I would say, and it's not appropriate, but I would just say that I go back to this. What's the benchmark for comeback? Mahomes played most of the season last year.
I told you, to me, it is just
the level of the injury.
The level of the injury, yeah. Especially if he is back out there on the field week 1.
I guess. That to me is my own the only trepidation I have. Because riders are weird, right? You're handicapping how voters will vote, and that to me is the only thing. If he's just old Patrick Mahomes, then and the only parameter is he got injured last year and so he's coming back. But I do wonder if there's going to be some voters who will look at this and say, you played most of the season, or you weren't out early enough, whatever, how they want to phrase it, and then he'll fall on some of the ballots. Because if it's a tight race, then you're talking about, if you're losing out on a couple of votes, that could make the difference in winning this thing, especially when you're talking about that price, too. That's up there.
So how many players at the top, then, are you, cutting out of comeback player of the year?
Well, I don't want to cut out Mahomes. I'm just wondering, if that's it, because I think there's certainly a reality that it's going to happen. I mean, out of all the guys at the top, I think I would cut out for sure Aaron Donald. He's coming back from retirement.
Yeah, I don't think
if you can't come back from sucking anymore, then you can't come back from retirement.
That's not coming back from hardship, right? That's not coming back from injury or hardship or whatever the other parameters were that they sent out to voters 2 years ago to remind them the true meaning behind the award.
Yeah, 1,000%. So, I'm probably stopping there. I mean, I know the practice report the other day was that your boy Bosa is on the verge of coming back, but if they're going to do the same thing they did last year, win in face of adversity, and he's going to be part of it at 25-1, it's kind of where I'm going.
Mahomes, again, your favorite, plus 185, followed by Jaden Daniels, plus 450, Kyler Murray, 6-1. Before you hit Aaron Donald, again, sub-double-digit shot there. Stick around. More money moves coming up after this as we round out Hour 1 on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
to autographs and trading cards from your favorite University of Hawaii student athletes, Rainbow Authentics has you covered. Plus, they have custom gear, so you can look your very best every game day. Capture the moment, own a piece of history, support Hawaii athletics, rooted in community and built on excellence. Rainbow Authentics empowers student athletes and coaches, gives back locally, and proudly celebrates its island roots. Shop now at rainbowauthentics.com and bring home a real piece of the action. Our boys, Tim Murray and Matt Humans, out there on the islands. You're going to get a special edition of VSiN Primetime today and tomorrow, presented by Ye Old Rainbow Authentics. They've been an awesome partner for us.
Yes, indeed.
Even Adam yesterday was rocking the hat.
I have a text message.
Okay.
Bail on the diet. 80-cent burgers say less.
Who said that?
Danny Higgins, producer of A Numbers Game.
Well, Danny's not on a diet. That's easy for him to say.
Whoa! Why do you just assume that Danny's not on a diet? Former pro athlete Daniel Higgins.
I know Daniel Higgins is not on a diet because he's about to embark on a road trip of sorts, correct? So
what does that mean?
You can't eat healthy on a road trip. You can't eat healthy on a road trip.
Look, you're trying to back this
you
down.
Can't
Look at you
eat
trying
healthy
to backpedal.
on a road trip. Sorry that I just know factual information. When's the last time you ate a salad on a road trip?
What was that?
When's the last time you ate a salad on
Danny's
a
a
road trip?
fat ass? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, my God.
Let's hear that, Danny.
I
know you're listening.
You and my husband, the way the terminology that my husband claims that I use about or around him that is completely inaccurate, words I've never said. You're so good at it. You're just doing the same thing.
I mean, you've called me fat a lot too, but
I have not. What I'm tired of is, you know how you get on me for people being nice to me?
Mm-hmm.
I should be doing this to you now. All anyone does when they come up to you is like, oh, JVT, looking good, looking good.
Can't deny.
Vomit-inducing.
I mean, come on.
Let's get into a little more.
Every time somebody tells me I look good, I hear, you were fat. And it just pushes me to get harder.
You're a ridiculous person. Maybe they're just complimenting your hair. One of the items, though, that we left off on last segment, we were talking about comeback player of the year, and you brought up Aaron Donald. Did just want to follow up on that real quickly, that over there with the Rams, Myles Garrett still not practicing. And I know Sean McVay has kind of downplayed this whole thing, saying that the goal is just about having him available for the season opener and ready to go. You want all of your best players to it's most important for them to be there for live action, games that matter, all of those things. But practicing is important too, and the fact that we're not hearing much about what might be keeping him out, is that something we should be concerned about?
I mean, part of me feels like no, right? I mean, you're a long-in-the-tooth vet with some really big fish to fry on a team that's pretty much run by long-in-the-tooth vets. So when you're just going to get some time as much as you can, when you're about to put your body through what the rigors of an NFL season is going to put on you, you probably want everybody healthy and available and ready to go and have as much rest as possible. So I don't think I'd be too worried about this. I think, too, as we learned from what's-his-face, Christian McCaffrey, it's all part of the plan. So don't be like the dirty media and try to stir something up that's not there, Stormy.
It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan.
Not dealing with anything.
Yep.
It's fine.
As we know from Corey, our producer, Garrett hardly participated in Browns camps either, so there you go.
Fair. Puka Nacua, by the way, still not practicing either with the groin and hip issue, and I still haven't seen any update on his potential suspension, although... Sorry.
You see the news today, too, by the way.
What?
That the Packers are bracing for a Josh Jacobs suspension.
Okay.
So, look, the Puka Nacua thing's probably going to come down at some point. I would assume it's going to be a game. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. But I would assume the matchup against your 49ers is probably it in Australia.
One last item, NFL-wise, real quickly. Ian Rappaport a little while ago saying that Kevin Stefanski told reporters Michael Penix Jr. will not play in the preseason final, with Penix adding that 3 practices just too soon. Makes sense, I think, as he works his way back from the injury.
Is this a tell that they want their starter to be ready for week 1? Don't want to put any unnecessary run
Probably. I mean, the final sentence of this tweet from Rap Sheet is, but Penix has put himself in position to win the job with his play.
Has Penix put himself in the position, or has Tua put him in the position?
Tua put himself out of the position.
Yeah, right.
That's probably what it feels a little bit more like.
It'd be terrible. It's just like, oh, man. I guess we got to go with the other one. Like, that's not really a good place to be in if you're Stefanski.
All right, let's hit a little Major League Baseball. We've got a handful of games that are coming up in the next hour or two, 5 to be exact. One of which I teased a little bit in our opening segment, talking about what Paul Skeens was able to do yesterday. The Pirates have an opportunity to potentially sweep the Padres today. Bubba Chandler and Randy Vasquez going head-to-head in this one after what was a low-scoring 1-0 affair yesterday. Just a single solo shot ended up being the deciding factor. What do you expect for us to get this afternoon?
I mean, you brought this up on purpose because it's your Padres, and you ignore the game that's starting in less than an hour. So I would love to know your thoughts,
hit it next.
Stormy.
Thank you very much.
About the Friars today.
No, I was just like, I can't be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Smart.
Thank you. I can't be partial when it comes to the Padres because they are just holding on for dear life in that final wild card spot right now. So I'm hoping that they can get back on track and get a dub here today. They should, but will they actually? Yeah,
last time out for Chandler, and I don't think this is shocking, he had a run where he had allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 5 out of 6 starts. And then the Dodgers snapped that for him, went out there and beat him up a little bit. But I don't think that's going to be anything you're going to write home about. It's the Dodgers. Dodgers are a pretty good baseball team. I don't know if you know this. So reversion back to form. And Chandler's form has been relatively solid, 4.38 ERA, 4.08 expected. So you probably expect some better performances for the most part. But you're still right in line with where all of your expected numbers are. So I think you can expect that he is going to put forth a stat line that's really similar to what we have seen from him throughout the season. The other part of this, though, is I just don't really want any piece of Vazquez and the Padres. Laying that kind of a price with Vazquez the way that he has been pitching is pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, 4.19, but the expected's at 5.70. A ton of really bad contact numbers for him, which drives that expected ERA up. The FIP is xFIP, is at 4.90 as well. Just don't know that if this guy who, if you look at the recent sample size for Vazquez, he has allowed fewer than 2 runs in an outing, stretching all the way back to the 19th of July when he has come out and performed. But I just don't know if there is any legitimacy to that, and you're waiting for that knife to drop here. So to me, it would be Pittsburgh or nothing, or maybe even a Pittsburgh team total over.
So one follow-up, and the Pirates sitting plus 125. The total for this one, 8.5 full game. But for the Pirates at large, they're 6.5 back of that final wild card spot right now. 28 games left, and obviously the runway is getting shorter. 4 teams in their way technically. Probably too big of a mountain to climb, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But you look at the upcoming schedule, they have a big series with the Cardinals, who are just ahead of them in the wild card race coming up after this series closes out. Then they're back home against the Giants and your Angels after that. It seems like they have a relatively easy path to start building up and racking up some important wins potentially. Don't give me that look. I'm sorry about Anaheim. 35-1 to make the postseason. Could that be worth just like a little something on?
I mean, the problem is you have your path, and then everybody else has their own as well, right? So, like, you not only do you have to take care of your own business, but then you have to make sure that the teams in front of you falter as well. And I just don't know if that's going to be the case when you're talking about such a gap with Arizona, potentially Miami, who sold a little bit. Obviously, the Cardinals have fallen back down to earth as we kind of expected, and they've lost 4 straight. But do you think – because I think that would mean, like, instead of betting that, would you rather bet either the Phillies or the Padres to miss the playoffs?
I guess. Well, I don't know. I
saying?
don't have those numbers in front of me, though. So
But I just mean the whole point of, like,
Sure.
instead of relying on Pittsburgh, just like, because they would have to come all the way back, and that means one of Chicago, Philadelphia, or San Diego would have to fall out of this wild card race. Who would you rather bet on for that to happen?
Sure.
And even the Padres at this point, looking at the prices for them to make the playoffs, would you rather just bet one of those teams? I think it's like too small of a needle to thread here if you're talking about Pittsburgh on a day-to-day basis. So, to me, I really wouldn't want that much of them.
The 2 games that are set to get underway earliest in the day coming up, 2 short money line prices. The Cubs minus 115 road favorites in Arizona. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Giants short minus 118 favorites at home with Logan Webb going against Nick Lodolo of the Reds. Anything stand out to you in either one of those matchups?
Let's see. Not really. Wait, did you mention? I'm sorry, you mentioned Chicago, correct? The Cubs. Yeah,
Matthew Boyd v. Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yes, that's the one I think that's really interesting here. So Eduardo Rodriguez is going to get the start. Rodriguez is one of those where the expected numbers don't match up with what his actual numbers are, and so you're waiting for potentially at some point the shoe to drop and for him to get his head caved in here. Last time out, 5 2/3, no earned runs, 4 strikeouts to 2 walks. The expected ERA for the season at 4.60, but the ERA at 2.60. It's a 2-run differential, 2-point differential between those 2 numbers. And again, for our audience, we're deep into the baseball season. You probably know this by this point, but expected ERA a little bit more tuned into your contact numbers. And so when you look at that, you see a guy that is giving up a ton of hard contact, Stormy. You wonder if you start to give that hard contact up again, when are you going to give up the ghost? You go back to a couple of starts ago, about 3, 4 against your Padres. He finally got, right? Gave up a ton of hard contact. Strikeout numbers really weren't there. 5 2/3, 11 hits, 7 runs, 3 or 5 of them earned. I just don't really. I think that the Cubs, even with Boyd out there, have the offense to make him pay for his transgressions. So I think it would be either potentially an over or the Cubs here outright to just win this game at a cheap -115.
Yeah, again, cheap price there. Total for the game, 8.5. We did get a tweet, and thank you as always for chiming in on the conversation. You can tweet at us if you want to get in touch at Storm Buonantony, at MeJVT. Our email account, moneymoves@vsin.com. Colin Murphy says, Stormy, not very nice of you referring to your colleague as Danny Piggins. It's his last week. Be nicer. I would never. And Danny's tagged in this. He's probably like not listening anymore. He turned it off after you said you didn't want herbs, and now my life
And he's on his way to get 80-cent cheeseburgers, and now he's like, I'm not going to get any now.
I hate you all. We got to step aside when we come back, talking all things Las Vegas Raiders as our NFL training camp tour continues. Stick around.
In